Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. So today we are gonna be doing some Trainz route on my narrow gauge map, the Water Valley. If there's anything wrong with the video or the audio, please let me know. Alright, so this is my route. Let's give the terrain to fully load in. Right, so this is about 50 baseboards in size. It is 3 feet or 750 millimeter narrow gauge with a little standard gauge. I get good city that eventually will. All right, so I've started this route about about half a year or so ago, maybe a bit more, before the HD terrain was released. And when the HD terrain went into beta, after trying it out on a test route, I converted this one, and ever since I've been working in. So the way I created the terrain in this route was I pasted one of the height maps that are included in Classic Surveyor. Here you can select height maps. I think the one I used was one of the Valley ones. Might be this one. So I just laid out the baseboards, pasted the height map all over, and then yeah, I went from there. So that's the reason you have areas like this, because the height map is of course not the appropriate resolution. You get pretty rough terrain, so I still need to manually do it. I haven't done all places yet. See, quite a bit of the map is already smooth. Some areas I still need to smooth out. Some of the areas on this map I manually built the terrain because I added them later. So this one, for example, and these two baseboards, or these two over here, which I haven't trained on yet. So yeah, if I would have wanted to stretch the pre-generated terrain with the height map over, I would have overwritten the entire rest of the terrain, everything that I had already edited. And of course, it would have changed the proportion slightly because the height map would have stretched over a greater area. So I'm manually doing that, which is all right. I mean, you can barely see a difference. So if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't know that these two baseboards over here were made by me. So yeah, let's just get started. So this is Surveyor 2.0, which is what you edit the HD terrain. Classic Surveyor cannot do it, so if you try, demonstrate that if you try to edit, get HD editing not supported. The same applies for textures. Cannot do that. And smoothing under spline doesn't work in Classic Surveyor as well. So you always get the HD editing not supported. So we use Surveyor 2.0. Not all features of Classic Surveyor are included in Surveyor 2.0 yet. That means for some features, like bulk replace, you need to use Classic Surveyor. And of course, if you want to use bulk replace for ground textures, that currently is not possible with the HD terrain. So you will need to do that either before you even convert your route, or you will need to convert it back to 5-meter grid, and then of course lose detail, which you will then have to. So let's just get started by smoothing out this area. So let's select ground height. Then we want to use the grade tool. And if you do not have a grade set, so either the dash or 0%, it behaves basically like the old plateau tool. That's a little bit different, but it's about the same. So let's go for a sensitivity of 70%, because with the grade tool you want that to be a bit higher. If you're doing height up or down, or you're doing textures, I would suggest somewhere between 5 and 20%, and under 5% if you're doing. So let's set the radius of our brush to 50 meters. And then the best method that I found to this without changing the shape of the terrain too much is to use short tabs like this. And as you can see, we generally preserve the shape of the terrain, but we smooth out. So if it gets too low or too high in some place, can use pull with the grade tool to pull down grain height from a higher area, and then you can use short tabs to smooth everything out, and you don't have any markings visible. So these artifacts here are from the border of two baseboards. I don't exactly know why they are there, because they weren't actually in the beginning. However, I recently had an incident where part of my Trainz database got corrupted. This route survived, luckily, but for whatever reason, I am now seeing these artifacts on the borders of sports. Again, I don't know why exactly that happens. I haven't yet found a way to solve the issue. I might ask the support for help on that. But so far they weren't too much of an issue, and I was able to somewhat build around them. At the end, it's just a this is it. So it's not too obvious, and of course, if you cover it in a texture and then put trees on top of it, nobody's really gonna notice, I think. I'll find a way to work around it. So as you can see, this area is already a lot bigger than it was before. I'll try not to bore you with much terrain editing. So of course, what I want to do is to preserve the general shape of the terrain, because otherwise it all map. But of course, in some places, I also want to adjust the terrain a bit for the scenery that I'm planning to put on here. And then, of course, you have areas like this where I flattened part of the terrain height tool. And that, of course, needs to be blended in without destroying terrain height that I can see. I smooth out this lift that formed over here. I will somewhat raise the terrain. So I will first, of course, bring this cliff to a state that I'm happy with. So I will smooth it out just a bit. Fine. Right. Right, like so. Then of course it's also raised the terrain inside of the depot, which I don't want. So we could use the set height tool, but that of course would create a new edge. So instead I will use the grade tool. I will decrease the radius to, let's say, 30 meters, and I will keep the sensitivity 70%. And I will go to an area over here which was not affected. This still has the original height of the depot. I will start clicking and I will hold the click and drag this here. And then I will just hold the click and paint over all the areas that were up. So, and for the little edge that forms here, it's still there. It still needs to be smoothened out, but not as harsh as it would have been if we set height to. So what we can then do is go even lower with the radius. Let's go to 10 meters. And now, since the radius is so low, we also need to adjust the. So let's 40%. Then we can manually smooth out. And basically, whenever I'm doing HD terrain editing, I prefer to use the grade tool. If I'm creating a mountainside, I will also use set height tool. And if I'm creating more like shallow hills or something, I do end up using the height up and down tool quite a bit. However, I tend to really do that for rough shaping and gradient, because it is a very versatile tool. You could even set it to produce a certain gradient, though then of course find the angle at. And so if you're smoothing something roundish like this, or something that basically doesn't follow a straight angle, then of course you constantly adjust the angle. Way easier to just do it like this with tabs. You have more control over what. A lot of it is just practice. I have worked with Trainz since launched into at which point it was quite buggy, so then I didn't touch it for a couple of weeks until updated beta was released, which and basically yeah, I have now, I don't know, beta was released somewhere in April or something, so I do have like almost 4 months of experience working with this, while I have a couple weeks data. Yeah, so a lot of it is just practice, of course. You could have practiced the new tools in already, since it's a feature. Just now that you're it for the new terrain. I mean, honestly, I didn't use a rail to that much as, but I've since come to appreciate a lot of can do, like very precise object example, or rotating objects that only 90 rotation. there. All right, so we'll see that this looks a bit rougher now than the Trainz. So just go middle brush, but any middle brush. Let's keep the sensitivity low at this. Then go over this again with the brush. Smooth it. You can see this line here, this kind of creates artifacts when you edit it. By these probably up when I time write a court ticket, ask what's there if there's a way to fix this. Because these only started appearing after part of my Trainz database was corrupted. I sadly didn't have a current backup. Also, at first I didn't even notice it. It happened, and it's not that noticeable. See it from afar, don't see that there's only when I started doing brain editing again and I hit one of those seams, I realized that something was wrong. And I had lost, I'd made too much progress that I. So let's increase the radius a bit. Again, let's go to 60 meters. And let's keep the low sensitivity. And since the sensitivity is low, I will use some longer clicks. And I'm a bit unhappy with this area. It's low, so I will drag some of this height from up here. Yes, and then let's go back to our 50 meter and 70 brush and smooth it all out. Right. So this is looking much better already. It requires some. And of course, this is quite the long and tedious process. So I hope you got some information on how to work with terrain, or just with terrain in general, because all these techniques I showed here should also apply to 5-meter grid or grid, load up Surveil 2.0, if you have it available, of course, and I'll edit. So I don't really want to bore you. So let's do something else. So um so this is my little logging camp. Let's quickly fix. Right. Yeah, so as I was saying, this is my logging camp. Um, so here trees get cut down and loaded onto trains. So they get loaded onto here, then get shunted here. So the up to them, take them down this to either the sawmill to get sawed down into tanks, or take them even further down. I was down here through the main station over this unfinished line into the main yard. And then they could then get exported here. So some of the logs also get exported. But of course, to actually load cars here, need a train. So I'm looking for something not too large. So I don't really want a train that's large. And also this kind of door doesn't really allow gripping logs that much. So loading tanks onto cars. So I will need a train that's a little better suited for logs. Then of course I need road network here. I need a refueling station, probably around somewhere, so it can share the fuels. And then of course I need to place some cut down tree stumps. So let's begin with the. So I don't actually know if I got any did that. So like the scenery mesh filter. Surveyor 2.0 got a 3D preview and a search filter directly integrated. So this isn't a different window anymore. Of course, you put back to the list, but you can. Right, so let's search for crane. A water crane, which I might, maybe not one, but something like. I will probably put down here. There I got my little engine that goes castle. Um, and so of course I could do something like this, which is way too large, not really suitable for logs either, and proportions. Why is this crane so? They like in real life. So oh, this is just floating in the okay, let's actually bring this down to the ground. So and moving this is gonna be a pain. And honestly, I don't think it looks. Got another strangely proportioned crane just in. We got some Would this work? This might work. Of course, would then this. So these would work for loading logs, but of course you would need to strap the logs to this hook. So I don't think these are the best choice because something that would grab the log directly. So it's and you don't need like two people constantly busy with putting tracking the. So this is of channels and it's animated, which I animate over and over again and load logs into clouds that aren't even there, or containers in that case. So this is just whole. Something else that's shovel. Either more like a construction crane, another construction crane, another one. What's this? So this seems to be an electromagnet. Maybe it is plate. Either would be suitable if we were trying to demolish something, but why do these wires get visible if you... Oh, oh. So no. What a... Way too large. This large. Maybe we should explicitly search for logging. So you have these, but these are if I remember correctly. Yes, they are. And I have with a track. I mean, this does look cool, but I don't really know. Let's keep it in mind. But it's not really percent one animated. So let me load up the DLS real quick and see if there are any other assets. Or if there aren't, I guess I'll... Right, there we go. Okay, there's this one. Wing crane. Then I guess there's only the... Really think we'll need all just idle construction cranes or Let's see the one that I downloaded. This is cool. So it's not animated. I lost anything. And this is actually about the size that I was looking for. So now, of course, we just figure out where to play. So conveniently, we do have this gap right here. So if we turn this around, of course, I don't really think we want this to go over the tracks. Since that would result to drive underneath. So this gizmo is very good for fine adjustments, and the closer you get, more accurate it gets, which for some assets is kind of annoying because they got the origin point of the asset placed way too far away, as you currently just a moment giant floating crane. So right, if we delete, so this enough space to turn and reach at least the logs on the file directly. I think for everything else you can use like a mobile crane. And it's not in the way of the track. Good. So let's leave this here for now. And I was thinking to actually to actually raise the ground a bit under these tracks. Bit like I did here. So of course these tracks are also a ballastless. So I would probably sink them point where only the head of the track is sticking out, so that little mobile crane go over here. Just little thing to transport the logs. Maybe like transport. I mean, theoretically, must be not very safe. But anyway, so yeah, that's what you could do. So you'd probably have like a little logging car with one of these trains at the back of it anyways to load all the logs when you cut them down. So we would need way for it to access the base. And then, of course, maybe some more stored logs, maybe with some shelter on top of them. Drying out. And then, of course, the road network and a little maintenance, which I was planning back here, together with maintenance. For that, though, let's do a short break so I can get something to do. All right, I'm back. So where was I? Wanted to. So, let's first of all change the track style here to the one that I'm using here at. I know, rusty. So then let's use this great feature of Mayor 2.0, where you just select all the lines that you placed. That one's gonna be a bit tricky to replace that. Oh, misclicked, but you can resume your selection with controls. And then, oh, moment, that's gonna be a bit tricky too. It's let's just do what we have. So go. So this one now only shows as being the selection for this line, but it's actually the for the entire active selection. So we can do replace line with select asset. Then it will automatically replace it with asset. Case is tracked with no ballast. Then of course we only need to do this for one. This one looks like it. I need to cut that up. Onto this one, and place them well. So this one, wait, did I accidentally undo too much? That's not good. So this one's gonna be a P. Yeah, so this one I will probably have to replace by deleting some splines. So this one as well, and this one. All right. So replacing these ones at the industry is gonna be a bit tricky. Especially since I think I have it on a locked layer. So I'm not sure if it will change its track type if it's locked, which it apparently won't. So let me just quickly unlock the locked layer, which point it should change it to there, and that to there, and do the same over here. This, and with this, let's relock the layer, and there we go. All right, so let me cut this spline into two parts. So I got the transition roughly on the same level. So the spline point here. Of course, this one now needs to be straightened. And then this one can be replaced. Then I will also do this over here. So this in spline point and this one. Go. All right, now let's raise the terrain a bit. So let's smaller brush, and go for, actually let's do height up and do that at 1%. Let's this, let's like this. And then let's do the gradient instead of the set height. And of course, set this one to 90%. So this. So now we can here into the area where there's no splines in the way. Then we can select ground. It will also automatically select the height we're at. And then we can use set height tool to set the height. And of course, the transition will need to be smoothed out. This for minus 41.01. This or that won't. That's a bit tricky. Not what I can log it. Oh, for fuck's sake, of course, it now. Can I adjust? Yes, I can. So I'll just adjust it downwards. About the same height as here. This really doesn't have to be that pretty. Of course, what we then do for the rest of the line. Of course, we gotta adjust it on the side. Oh, and we will even have to change adjusts. Then grab the height adjust tool. Yes, this. All right, there we go. So for the rest of it, I will actually go to Classic Surveyor because it's faster. So I will just grab the height point, then apply it all the other well. So then here same I know the parent. And there we go. So when I now return, oh, sadly, switching between the two editors causes all your settings to reset. So let's go back to the 5 meter brush. With our, what did we have? 30% sensitivity. I don't know, for the set height tool, it doesn't really matter that much. Since no matter the um no matter the sensitivity, the longer you hold your brush in one place, or it's gonna raise it to the height that you have entered in here. And of course, that means some point height, which especially for edits of this scale, uh, don't even. In this case, we literally want it all to be at this. All right, there we go. Yes, I texturing there. Which we are now gonna do as well. So first of all, outward. I want to smooth it out. Get that space so the tracks don't, sleepers of the tracks don't get filled again. The same thing on the other side. Less often. So then let's switch to gradient. This is fine actually. Let's just smooth it. Actually, let's go. Go. At least, I guess. Right. Let's actually increase the brush size to 8. $70. So then, let's paint this over as text. So when you select the ground, it will also select the texture for you automatically. So sometimes the editor gets a bit confused when you do that before changing the edit brush, and then gets it again. And grab of and then and in or actually accidentally paint the wrong texture. It's bad. So now that we got less on the ground again, let's grab this texture. Then paint this under the box and underneath legs as well. So the Trainz developers intend for Brain and for you to mainly use Webbook here, which basically copy paste on steroids. So it is quite the powerful feature, but no, I don't really like using it, especially I'm not really sure about the way they want you to create the texture patterns of up to 3 textures combined and paste. I personally rather manually layer my textures on top. So now that we have this, can go down to like a 1 meter brush, 6%. Then other, let me see what we could use. Brown or texture, darker. Could use this. So we have our base texture, our dirt. Now we have mud, 1%, 1 meter radius, 6%. Then just apply it around. Let's take a 5 meter radius. Randomly apply it here a bit more. I'm gonna apply it a bit more. And yes, I'm gonna apply this a bit more on the track. Since there's vehicles this side. And I think this is the main advantage of Brain not combining textures into patterns. Webbook, which of course you can do. That's a valid way to edit the terrain, and I'm sure that it's a useful feature how to use it. But you can also do this manually. Right, so we got it back. So for the rest, let's do like a thorough brush. Maybe a bit more over here. Here it doesn't matter because there's blocks on. So I guess this should vary with how much the yes, this should just a bit more over here. All right. And then, of course, you can still see that this is mainly 2 textures. One of them dominating quite a lot. So actually, it makes a lot of text. Probably trouble, which this gravel, this should be the one just this art underneath. So let's also apply a bit of, let's have the code. So let's apply some of this gravel in here. Rain. Here, here, edge. And the rest of this will get painted as well, so I'll probably but yeah. Maybe a bit on these tracks as well. This one got a different relax effect, so get visible, which I do actually think is a pretty nice effect. This it like this. Really out a bit and then over with some more, so it doesn't boom and made like this, I say. And then now comes the real star of the show. We're gonna select the color layer that I created. So the HD Terrain supports tinting the ground color. So do that with this color thing here. First of all, you need to create a color effect layer. Then you set it to the uh, accuracy that you want. Hello there, Kango Fango. Welcome to the stream. I hope you didn't miss too much. I don't know when you joined. And said that you can't stay for that long, but maybe something about the new. So, I'm about to apply this color effect layer, which I have created with a 5-meter accuracy. You gotta watch the accuracies. Oh, for fuck's sake. I will not take care of these effects just because I know that I'm gonna rework the edges of this again when I texture. Anyway, so you select the color here after you have created the layer, and then what you can do is apply it. So, and it changes the color of your textures with the one you have selected. So you can use it to give your textures extra depth, like this. Is mainly dirt with some mud and gravel mixed in here, which I make a bit more brown in some areas, like this. Here. So. And then let's go for something, maybe something gray, somewhat dark gray. This also depends on the intensity, and actually, let's use just darken it in some areas, maybe or a bit around the on the tracks here, and Right. Does look definitely better than it did before. And you can do a lot with this. So do like brownish again and just try a bit more. Maybe try to smooth this out a bit, or doesn't look. Someone just better it around manually. Yeah, so let me read chat for a bit. I did watch from the and some. Oh, so I basically talked to myself. All right. Um. Anyways, is this route set in a specific country? Not really. So this route is using Australian narrow gauge rolling stock. So for the standard gauge, it's using yeah, it's using Australian rolling stock. So basically the two ends of the world merged together. So I I don't know. It's scenery wise. I'm not going for any specific country. I'm just building what comes to my mind. Though in the root options config file where the country is named, I entered both Austria and Australia. But since Austria is named first, the game displays Austria. So I guess that's what it is now. Do like the look of it so far. Thank you a lot. What the landscape will look like. Forests, mostly meadows. I'm going for probably mostly pine forests around the route. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of steep mountains. Um, so this is a height difference of about 300 meters. Yes. So down here we are at minus 307. Then up here where the track is, we're at minus 40. So about 260 meters. And then this highest point over here, which isn't the highest point of the route, but the highest on the side, it's 52 meters. So 350 meters of height difference, which is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not that much, but for like a single hillside, it is quite a lot. Um, so yeah, mainly pine forest, especially up here, top of the mountains, and then down here in the valley. I'm gonna mix in some regular trees as well, like I did over here. Though these, of course, since they are in like yards and backyards and stuff, they are, I think, mainly like human planted or themselves from nearby trees that were planted. Um, Nadelwald, yes, that's basically what I'm going for. I'm taking a lot of inspiration the from the Harz Mountains in Germany. One, because I was there last week, and two, because those are the only mountains I've ever personally been to. Um, and since they are like the largest spruce forest in the country, yeah, I'm going for that. Sadly, a lot of the trees were destroyed due to like bug infestation. So sadly, a lot of the trees are now dead and had to be cut down, so they damage woods and stuff when they over. Though some of them were left standing to serve as food for mainly fungi, so that the forest has something to naturally regenerate from, which I hope will happen, and that the forest can get as beautiful as it once was. Though, of course, in large amounts, the forest is actually still standing, which is some of those houses look American. Yeah, I'm scenery wise, I'm not going for a specific country, so um, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from American buildings because that's what you see on it a lot. Though I might also German inspirations, because that's what I see day to day. That's what I mainly use as reference for the track layout. Although this yard is like an inspired track layout with some of this put onto it. But yeah, I mean, it's basically I've got a lot of references at work. Though of course the track layout should always be based on what the purpose of it. So if you, for example, over here, I have the yard on this side, but then my standard gauge yard is over here, and I somehow need narrow gauge loading track. I've built this little around here, and then up here you have this little track that you can hunt onto, and then reverse. And you need this mainly because that maybe can shunt up here, and then another train can pass, and then, but of course, to protect main line over here. So if you're shunting here and you didn't have the switch, if one of your cars would catch, there would be the risk of it going onto the main line and colliding other trains. So you basically back like this, that of course is long enough to also use it to shunt on, but basically you need a track that does not go onto the main line and instead just ends somewhere, be it buffers or just a straight up dead end with nothing on it, so that no stray cars can ever roll. This is, I mean, I know that basically you need it for safety reasons. I don't think it's necessary in all countries. I think the US is one of them where safety always main priority. Right legs. So this is mixed, I guess, mixed inspiration. But in general, I'm just building to live out my creativity. So I don't try to achieve a specific goal by building this. I just something. Anyway, so we will need some kind of cloud infrastructure here, and I'm wondering, probably be best if we have that can cost. So I don't feel like manually building it. So why don't we mess around with Scrapbook? So I have something like this built over here, though this is currently around. Side as well. So that's just tedious work that I will load off to some other. So actually, I declare that I sort of that. So let's tool. Of course, it selects parallel to the grid with font box. So yes. All right, and so basically, when you do this selection tool, you select everything. And actually, regardless if it's selected or not, you will copy what's inside this selection. So let's copy that. And then we have it turned into the scrap. And this is now temporary, though I could save it virus in 5 days. I could save it to stay beyond that if it's something that I wanted to. But I don't plan on doing that. So let's deselect that, and then let's go into the filters. And so this is for, basically the approach of this is copy everything and then you select what you paste. So the texture, we don't want to overwrite anything. Meshes, neither. Text layers, also not. The ground height, we also do not want. change. And these splines we want to add. Then we select our brush, go to scrapbook data. Let's go to like 6 meter brush, so it's covered. Paste it. I hope I did it right. My game's frozen. I hope it doesn't crash because I forgot to save. Which of course you only realize once your game is frozen that you crash. Is to save. Let's rechat. Alright. Apologies for not letting you know I had the stream muted. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe someone else was on. Right. Thanks a lot. Right. So, yes, it did select all the tracks, though that's what I was, that's kind of can't make it not select. This is not good. Head off properly now. All right, Tango, you have a great day. I hope you learned something about Surveyor 2.0 and HD terrain. And I really hope that. Oh, something's happening. Something's happening. Okay. Something's appearing. Oh, I know what's the issue. And I can't save yet because the game is still lagging. So if you take a look at my tools, you will see that I have the scale set to 0.01% from when I was editing the textures. And basically what's happening is that with the scale also scales how much you paste your scrapbook. And so by lowering the scale, you paste more of it. So I just pasted the little walkway and the tracks that I had selected, but not once. I pasted them 1,000 times. Oh no. Oh no. Just 100 times. If there were 2 zeros, that would be it. Alright. You have a nice day, Kango, and I will try to save this, which will mean I will press delete and then hope. Okay, there we go. Alright. Let me save this first. Alright, thank you, Kango. Have a great day. And then let me change the scale to 100% and let's try this again. And it worked, which is great. So now I can middle one. So for right, let's try this again. Oh, let's this. And well, it's somewhat wanted, so okay, so that's just the waypoint from the. Alright, so I guess this did save me some work after all. It's good. And it didn't crash my game after all, which is also good. So zoom the selection. Then lower this a bit. This. And then I will need to of course continue this bit. means I need set the grade to 0%. There's a difference between grade 0 and grade dash. So if you have the dash in there, it will align itself to the ground. And if you have the 0 in there, it will stay at a flat 0% gradient. Pretty sure that the old surveyor didn't do that. It only ever made it only ever gave you completely flat, right? Completely following the ground splines when you had it set to. Also, yeah, I guess the thing now, the gradients are bugged a bit. So this doesn't look flat. Minus there we go. Oh, position is 40.97 and minus I guess this one. This then getting this line minus 41.3, so minus 41.3. For fuck's sake. Go. Does this go up? Fuck is going? Why is this 1.9? All right. So with this thing now, just all right. That should do. So we now have this lovely walkway. Now we need something to connect it. So before that, let's quickly check. Let's streaming for close to 90 minutes. Sadly, not many people watching. So since my throat is already a bit sore, I think I'll actually stop this. Thank you for watching, and I will definitely stream some more Trainz. We did get something done, and I guess a lot of it is just now some Trainz work. Definitely. If anyone still watching needs help, has questions about the HD2, feel free to ask me in my Discord and Sharadas's Discord, in the Trainz Discord, or just DM me if you want. Fine with that. I hope you've had a good time and that you enjoyed my work. And maybe one day I will actually finish this route, and then I'll probably upload it onto the DS for a voice, so you can look forward to that. So hope you had a great time. And bye everyone.